When you think about 3D printing, maybe you think about the Prusa i3, CoreXY Ender 3 Pro, or maybe some other brand with different kind of models. Which kind of 3D printing technique do they use? Which kind of 3D printers are there? Well, in this video I'm going through the most commonly used 3D printing techniques there are and which kind of brands you can think of, right here on Zachary 3D Prints. Hello, my name is Zachary and this channel is about 3D printing with tips, tricks, tutorials, how to review, news, anything 3D printing or 3D printer related you can find right here on this channel. If you're new here and not subscribed yet, please consider subscribing and hit the notifications button to get the latest videos right in your alerts. And thanks for being here. In the additive manufacturing processes there are 7 different kind of categories, but in this video I'm going to take a look at the 2 most commonly used ones. For the first one is the material extrusion. Within the material extrusion we have the FDM, the fused depositioning modeling, and for the second one we have the fused filament fabrication, or FFF for short. And then the second technique or the second process is the fat polymerization. Within this you find the SLA, the stereo lithography, or the mask stereo lithography, or MSLA, or the DLP, the digital light processing. There are many other ones that I can name, and also the category I can name, but most of the time those machines are more expensive. Also the material that they are using are usually in the higher price ranges. So we will stick by just these 2 techniques. So the first 3D printing technique we find for the FDM FFF 3D printers are the Cartesian 3D printers. This is by far the most commonly one I see on the market. It doesn't matter how small or how big this 3D printer is. A Cartesian 3D printer follows these rules. A carriage moves over the x-axis and the bed moves back and forth over the y-axis. As the model grows, the z-axis pushes the gantry higher and higher. This is the i3 style 3D printer. Then you have the box or the hypercube styles. Mostly metal enclosures, where the gantry moves over the upper part of the 3D printer. Usually the X and Y axis are found on the upper part of the 3D printer. These movements are done by stepper motors. Sometimes they use timing belts, and there are types that are using lead screws. The normal i3 style 3D printers uses timing belts and lead screws to move the axis around. These printers are often cheap and the parts are easy to assemble, and the printing volume can be very large. So let's take a look to the second style 3D printer within the FDM FFF. It's the Delta 3D printer. Whereas the Cartesian style 3D printer moves or over the x-axis or over the y-axis or over the z-axis with 3 different kind of stepper motors, the Delta use them together. So you have a triangle shaped 3D printer with on each corner a pillar with a carriage moving up and down to move the printhead in the right direction. Usually these 3D printers have a Bowden style extruder instead of a direct drive. Printing speeds are a bit faster or much faster than the Cartesian 3D printers, but they are much taller to reach higher printing volumes, and they are also a bit more difficult to calibrate. And then we have the CoreXY 3D printers. These printers are often confused with aluminum extrusion kind of hypercubes, where also the X and Y axis are on top. Sometimes people say that it are CoreXY 3D printers, but the technique is a little bit different. But what is the difference about this technique? Well, usually we have two stepper motors on top of the CoreXY 3D printers, moving two very large timing belts, making sure that the carriage moves over the gantry over the X and Y axis, where the two stepper motors, the X and Y axis, are working together to move the carriage and the gantry as fast as possible over both axes. While printing, the Z axis pushes the bed down as the X and Y axis are printing on the bed. This makes the CoreXY 3D printer very popular for people that want fast printing speeds and have high printing volumes as well. Often, because of the timing belts, these printers are a bit harder to calibrate, just like the Delta 3D printers. The other very popular printing technique is VAT polymerization or resin 3D printing. With the resin, we have three different kinds of methods of printing. Let's take a look at the first one. The first one within the resin 3D printing is the MSLA or the stereo lithography. This technique, the printer uses mirrors on the X and Y axis to aim a laser rapidly over a vat of resin, selectively curing and solidifying a cross-section of the object inside of the building area, building it up layer by layer. And then the second one in the resin 3D printing, mask stereo lithography or MSLA. The mask stereo lithography utilizes an LED array as its light source, shining UV light through an LCD screen displaying a single layer slice as a mask, like the DLP. The LCD photomask is digitally displayed and composed of square pixels. The pixel size of the LCD photomask defines the granularity of a print. Thus, the XY accuracy is fixed and does not depend on how well you can zoom or scale the lens, as in the case of the DLP. Another difference between the DLP-based printers MSLA technology is that latter utilize an array of hundreds of individually emitters rather than a single point of emitter light source like a laser diode or DLP bulb. Similar to the DLP, MSLA can under certain conditions achieve faster print times compared to SLA. That because an entire layer is exposed at once rather than tracing the cross-section area with the point of a laser. Because of the low cost of an LCD unit, these machines are becoming more popular for the budget desktop resin 3D printers. And then the second one within the resin printing, the DLP or digital light processing. This technique is almost the same as SLA, but the key difference is that DLP uses a digital light projector to flash a single image of each layer all at once. This resin printing is much faster than SLA printing. After printing, both techniques have post-processing. For FDM or FFF, you need to take it off of the build plate, remove the supports and smooth the part or model. For resin 3D printing, after printing, you take off the print head, remove the model or part from the print head, then you need to wash and cure the model with UV lights, remove the supports, smooth the part or model a little bit, and then you're done. So resin printing has a bit more work, but the surface looks way different than the FDM technique. The surface is more smoother and more detailed than the FDM FFF style 3D printer. Well, to wrap up this video, depending on the thing you want to do with 3D printing or things you want to do with 3D printing, you have the FDM FFF style 3D printers or you have the Resin 3D printing. For the FDM FFF style 3D printers, you can print very fast or very quickly things out of your 3D printer where you can see less details, but the parts are much stronger. Then for the Resin 3D printers, you have much more details and the parts are way smoother. Usually for Resin 3D printing, I see many models, many miniatures printed out there and they look awesome. But hey, you have to make your own choice which kind of printing technique you want to use. And hey, you can of course use both kind of techniques. This video is supported by these Patreon supporters, Tony and Shannon. Thank you for your support. You can also join by supporting this channel. Check the link in the description of this video. If you're still watching, thank you, you are awesome. On the end card, there are some recommended videos worth watching. Please like this video, share this video with other people, and I will see you next time. And hey, let's make some fun with 3D printing. Zachary 3D Prints. Bye bye.